okay.
I guess if you want, if that's what you want to do,
It's
in front of all the people.
it's how I can keep track of where it is.
Hello and welcome to Was That in Good Taste presents Was That in Good Taste? My name is James. I am your main host, back in the main seat, leading the charge, and my second in command as always.
My name's Chandler Phillips, and I'll be your co-pilot for the evening. If you have any questions, please direct them elsewhere.
Woo! Oh man, I'm excited.
Thank you for having me, James. Happy to be here.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I thought it was the Woo! Oh man, so it's the first episode. It's the second episode of the new year.
Of the new year.
You know, it's the second episode of our sobriety month. And I thought that we would be doing some fun conversations about not fun. Sorry, I take that back, not fun.
Not
Some
fun.
sober conversations.
Oh, what does that even mean?
A sober, grounded conversation about us, our place in the world, where we're aiming to be, where we're aiming to avoid. That's right, we're talking the Podbro Problem.
Are we going to actually be like introspecting and looking inward and reflecting and trying to like do better for ourselves and maybe our listeners?
Or we could at least pretend that we are.
Oh, I do fancy a good acting exercise.
I would like to pretend like we care, but we're doing something different. We had a mocktail last week. The last time that we did a sober month, it was like 3 years ago, and we did a mocktail every week. I decided for our sober conversation, we should have some sobriety.
Oh, that's so clever.
It's almost like I came up with it.
That's so fun. That's so funny. That's so funny.
We're having some lemon ginger tea while we reflect.
And I had mine with a little dash of honey because I like it sweet.
Oh, he likes it sweet.
How long do I keep the tea bag in this one?
Well,
Like, how do I gauge it?
it's up to
'Cause
you.
It doesn't really get dark like a
I would say
like
3 to 5 minutes at 180 degrees.
God, it's been in there for like what, 3 hours
Yeah,
now?
but it's up to you. I like to leave it in there. I like the ginger to steep. I like the ginger to steep.
It steeps from the moment it hits the water.
It steeps from the inside.
It starts as soon as it's dipped. It's steeping. And
Oh no! Has it been steeping too long? Have you ruined every bag of tea ever?
Is it Teutonic?
Is it Teutonic? You know what? Take a sip. And you take a knee. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We need you to do that, or I'll be really fucking sad. It's weird. It's a little different to not have a cocktail.
Don't make my friend sad.
Not having a cocktail is so different.
Is it jarring?
Right. It is a little jarring, not so much because I need the drink, but I'm just so acclimated, right, to having a cocktail in front of me, a social lubricant. Now I have to try.
Yeah, having that kind of social lubricant, it's kind of essential sometimes. For some instances, for some occasions, it's like I'm too raw. I'm too raw to just dog this.
You can't do it. How are you dealing with it? How are you dealing with the sobriety so far?
So I did invoke my one-time use Totino's sponsored cheat day. Ding! And what that does is it absolves me of all my sins. One time only.
Neat.
And I think
Castrate yourself before the people.
I think because we explicitly talked about how I didn't want to do like a competition because like I wasn't doing this to like prove anything other than just like I should probably take like a little break. I should ease up. I should pump the brakes a little bit. And there was just an instance where I felt like it was necessary to take advantage of an open bar because those don't present themselves all the time. And it is, what's the verbiage you like to use? Rare and unusual.
Rare and appropriate.
Rare and inappropriate occasions.
Okay.
Which is like, well, that's how I justify like a drink at an airport, because
That's pretty funny. That's pretty good.
it's like it's 9 a.m. It's kind of inappropriate to have a beer, but
Yeah, it's rare and appropriate.
Oh,
When it's rare and appropriate, Chandler, like a family member's birthday party. You don't want to be the only person not eating cake when you're on a diet.
or like a funeral when like you want to pour some out on the casket and then take shots
Oh
with
my
the
God.
bereaved.
Do you think we have an introspecting problem?
Well, I think to answer that, I would have to introspect, and I refuse to do that.
Well, one thing that's been on my mind as I've been intro and outro specting is we've been doing this for a while, and there's been talk. There's a vacuum in the world.
Are there rumblings?
There is a space open.
Oh, I love an open space.
There's a space open for a podcast that features likely not exclusively men, that is fun and kind,
engaging,
and engaging,
thought-provoking,
but also progressive.
Oh,
Right? And I think that maybe we could do that. But I'm trying to determine if the black guy, Jewish guy, diaspora, I'm wondering if that's enough. I'm wondering if we're pod bros.
do we? Oh,
Are we pod bros?
are we pod bros?
Right? How far are we from being a Joe Rogan?
Well, I think we're a couple zeros away from being a Joe Rogan. We're a couple of comedy specials and international following away.
And some HRT.
Yeah.
Listen, do you want to be Joe Rogan?
Nah, man, I want to be me.
You want to be you? You want to be you?
Yeah, I want to be like me, but like a better version of it. But
So
like,
anybody but you.
like I want to be me, but like self-actualized, but also still like kind of relatably troubled. Like aware of my flaws, and then able to like actually accurately perceive the way I'm perceived by others in a way that like is still kind of humble and is like grounding, and so that like when people then interact with me or listen to me are like, wow, this guy gets it.
You know what? Do you think people do you think people get that from you?
God, I hope so. But I don't think I'm self-actualized enough yet to like I don't think that I can perceive myself enough to know how I'm perceived, because I don't know, it just kind of feels a little distorted, or even worse, that I actually do accurately perceive myself, and I'm just so dissatisfied with what that is that I'm like, oh no, this can't be it. This can't be all it is, right?
What do you think? This is interesting. So I'm curious because there are a few things that I've written down that I was curious about. Some things that I've noticed when it comes to like what I like to call the Joe Rogan problem. Because the Podbro issue, I think, breaks up into like two categories, right? One, it's that the person who's at the top of the mountain is Joe Rogan, right? And then the second is just that there's lots of men with podcasts, right? And but like, what do you think Joe Rogan's motivation is? What if you don't know Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan, of course, is the extremely popular comedian. He had that's like multi-million-dollar podcast exclusivity with Spotify.
Excalibur.
And he's known for having on everyone as from Bernie Sanders to Donald J. Trump himself. He is the top podcast dog, right? And a lot of people always talk about how the reason people like his podcast, like I used to, is because it's approachable, right? It's a guy, just a bro, just a guy sitting
Just a
there,
guy.
disarming you by just, being casual. How much intent, I wonder, do you think that Joe Rogan puts into like the presentation of himself on the podcast? Or do you think that he's really just a guy? I'm a dumb guy. I'm just dumb. I'm just dumb guy. I'm just dumb guy.
I think he's aware of how he presents himself, and I think he does put a lot of effort, or at least energy, into presenting presenting himself in a way that is thought out and that is like methodical. Like, he knows that because of his like he's got a comedy background, but he's also done Fear Factor, and he's been a commentator for UFC, and like he has done and worked on projects that have only really heightened his fan base in just kind of like key demographics that are kind of like the main demographic that people listen to when it comes to a metric of then promoting and investing. Like, people want to invest or buy advertising on something that appeals to the most likely to be wealth owningest demographic. And so when when you kind of appeal to hetero white men, they are the most likely to own things or to have wealth that they're willing to spend. So if you're an advertiser, you're going to pour money into that. Also, like the things that he does, or like the things that he's into, I think speak to a romanticized experience of masculinity that like,
It's like classic. It's like he's a guy. He does martial arts. He does announcing for UFC, and he's just the guy.
Like someone who read whatever Hadrian, the Roman emperor, the philosopher emperor, and who was like, oh, well, I get stoicism now, and it's about disciplining your mind and your body in a way that, allows you to overcome any obstacle if you're disciplined enough. And I think there's like this romanticization of self-discipline that is reiterated in a bunch of different works, but is just kind of like the keystone of masculinity. But it's also like, ironically, masculinity is so weird because while being like self-disciplined is like one aspect, and like being able to do your job effectively and like be disciplined enough, like discipline and authority are all kind of mashed into it. But then you got like, who are the like symbols of pop masculinity? You think of like Rambo, who's like a lone wolf, kind of like plays by his own rules, but it's because he knows his own justice is like righteous, where it's like he's disciplined enough to stick with what he knows is right, or like,
of course,
he's been wronged. They drew first blood, and like he may not start the fight, but he's gonna finish it, and like all of that just kind of interwoven machismo is represented by the type of stuff that Joe Rogan is into, like.
But not just the things individually. It's them collectively.
No, it's the collect.
Because it's like you can like basketball and you can like mixed martial arts, but it's just like the combination of liking all those things in the way that he likes them just means you're more likely to be a kind of weird person. Don't leave. I'm sorry. Right? I have it highlighted right here. The things, I actually have it outlined what the Joe Rogan problem is. And it's important because this is how the masculinity, well, you're going to see. Right? Because there's a few things that he does that are absolutely objectively terrible. And I think that this reflects on the entire culture of pod bros, because people, of course, want to be Joe Rogan. If you have a podcast, you want to have lots of viewers and lots of engagement, and you want to be whoever's number one, and that's Joe Rogan. And the number one thing that he does is platforming controversial figures, right? And it's interesting because Joe Rogan went from just having on comedians and his friends and The real edgy one was like Bernie Sanders, but that wasn't really edgy. That wasn't really controversial, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't really. But now, as time has continued,
Didn't he have like some controversial celebrities on, or at least like the canceled ones?
So effectively, what happened is, having those people on isn't that controversial. He was just having on regular people.
Which,
then
like no more controversial than like Howard Stern.
Yeah, like he'd had people on, they were cracking jokes, they were smoking weed, and then one day he had a Nazi on.
Whoa.
And that's just
full on Nazi?
Yeah, and then what do? They sit there and they spread misinformation.
And then but he's like so open to it.
Mm-hmm,
That's I think part of the rub is the ability to deflect any accountability by being like, well, I'm just a guy with a podcast, I'm just here to have these to have the tough conversations, but also like lacking the ability to hold those having the conversations truly accountable for the shit that they're saying.
I mean, let's be real. What's the number one issue with the Joe Rogan show is that Joe Rogan knows nothing. He has a complete lack of expertise in anything that's not watching mixed martial art, poorly writing jokes, and being an online persona who's pretty charismatic and good at talking into a microphone, right? He is not an expert, right? And Rogan often...
He's probably watched a handful of nature documentaries.
Oh, yeah. Some documentaries.
Yeah. And he's smoked weed with some of the most...
Damn,
people.
Being in a room with people sure does make you smart, huh?
And if you can bring them down to your dumbness, then that means you're as smart as them.
He's sitting in the room with Jordan Peterson. I really like your jacket. Well, cultural Marxism.
The thing about jackets...
Oh, my God.
What you have to understand is that with a jacket, it's more than what we are presenting ourselves as.
Can you do a Kermit? That's Jordan Peterson. There you go.
Oh, there we go. I was trying to get the cadence down.
That's
Marie.
It's so crazy because Joe Rogan spends a lot of his time talking about complex topics, politics, climate change, all that shit without any prior knowledge. Right? I'm gonna get to us.
What about Jamie?
Right?
What about the guy pulling up the stuff all the time? What about his producer?
I haven't watched it that much, but it's well known that Jamie's not out there sitting back there.
You watched it more than me.
I definitely did, and Jamie wasn't pulling up stuff on the whim. Like there's some clips of like Jamie pulling up something. Somebody in the comments right now, well, actually, in episode 1168 of the Joe Rogan Experience, that's not something that Jamie really does. Okay, maybe once every 3 to 4 hour episode, Jamie pulls up some information to affirm, mostly, Joe's opinion, right? That doesn't make you knowledgeable. And I think it's important, to do a little bit of research. But it also leads into, of course, the biggest thing, which is the over-reliance on anecdotes. Because Joe Rogan is an anecdote machine. And I'm going to be real, people online are too.
He's an anecdote fiend.
Do not understand that anecdotes are not like everything. It's like,
facts over feelings. Am I right, James?
You know what's really crazy? How that kind of switched.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was like Ben Shapiro's thing. But now it's kind of like you're in your feelings right now. Because for some reason you think that this thing that you feel is right. But this thing that you feel has nothing to do with anything that's grounded on this plane of reality. But somehow, magically, your feelings about this matter, right? And so that's why Joe Rogan it's well known. That's why his politics confuse some people, because he grew up poor. So he's very sensitive to and understands how important certain social programs. He's like very, very like liberal. That's what he calls like a classical liberal. You know what I mean? Because it's like food stamps, Social Security, because his mother was on food stamps, right? He can see and feel those things, right? Everything else with him is anecdotal. You know what I mean? It's like, what is it? He's like, well, she was a man. He's like a man boxing a woman. And it's like, What are you even talking about? Somebody you read
Well,
someone
see, when
X.
it comes down to fighting, when it comes down to fighting, if you put me in a cage with a tiger, if it's a boy tiger, it might
Shit.
beat me.
I'm gonna fuck that tiger up. So actually, what you do is you
But
just catch it.
If it's a mother bear, I'm done, dude. You don't get between a mom and anything else.
So I saw on the internet, these people were talking about bear versus man. That's like so funny. You feel safer with a bear than a man. I'll tell you something that man can do. If you're so safe with the bear, the man can go and kill the bear and then take you. Just grab you, throw you over his shoulder.
Dude, if you feel safer in the woods with a bear, what you gotta realize is that bear has 7-inch claws on each of its paws. And what it does is most of the time it'll use those long knife-like claws to dig in the ground for roots. And like, have you ever tried hitting the ground? Dude, it is not soft. Okay? So if you're trying to go toe-to-toe with something that actively boxes the ground most of the time, like most of the year, like that is peak physical training. Like I watched this video, right, of Kung Fu Hustle, where they're like doing the thing where they got these big pots of sand and they're just diving their fingers into it. Now picture you're a bear, okay? And instead of sand, it's hard forest soil, right? Probably ripe with underbrush and then bedrock, right? Bedrock. And every day you're just doosh, doosh, doosh. And if you think you're safe around that, bears aren't physically, mentally disciplined enough to know how to actually wield what they're doing. And like they don't know submissions, right? They don't, like, at least the guy knows a submission. Like a rear naked choke, that's a submission, right? But like bears,
What's the bear gonna do?
what's a bear? It's gonna karate chop you into 3 pieces.
Hey Jamie, I saw a video of a bear doing push-ups on Facebook. Can you pull that up for me?
Yeah. Boom.
Can I tell you? Yo, hold on. I'm sorry. I can't. That shit is. I can't. That shit is so
like
funny.
part of the disarming part is how meandering the conversation.
If I listen, can I tell you something? I wish that we could just do this. Like, it was really crazy. So the other day, I was watching American Dad, and I was like so high, and I was like thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, if Roger is fast, do you think Roger is faster than like the Flash?
Nobody's faster than the Flash, man.
And so I saw also
There's no one on Earth faster than the Flash.
there was this like woman. She's like an OnlyFans slut,
Fatherless behavior.
I don't. First of all, I don't understand it. Let my daughters do that. They would never do that. You know what I mean? And then also, like, there was like this woman, quote unquote, inside of my daughter's school. Next thing you know, they're talking. First they're talking about MMA. Then he's like, yeah, GSP was really good back in the day. But if a woman was in the UFC back then, if there was a trans woman, if there was a man dressed as a woman back then, Ronda Rousey would have never been champion. Ronda would have never been champion if there was a man dressed as a woman.
Well, because think that man has probably fought at least 6 bears at like any given queer club.
God, you know what?
And if that person can take on like 4 bears in a men's bathroom stall, like that, I don't want to fight. Joe
Rogan also kills me because Joe Rogan does this thing where he will I'm about to go on a whole fucking rant. It's all about tone. So it's like tone and bias, right? So obviously, I don't care what he says, right? He is just like a conservative guy. Lots of conservative people like populism, and that's why they like Bernie Sanders. So no shit he likes Bernie. Bernie is the most popular politician in the entirety of the United States. Everyone likes Bernie. The Republican senators love Bernie, okay? That does not make, I think we all conflated that with like, Joe is like kind of progressive. No, he's just like this conservative guy.
It's kind of base level.
And but he weaves it in because I don't think he's completely evil. He's just he is kind of like gross, but I think, and he is evil in ways, but what he'll do is he'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna call her she, I know it's a man in a dress, but she wants me, I'm gonna call her she, because Joe Rogan does understand. He always does this when people get really transphobic, he like laughs. He's like, he doesn't really engage with it that much, right? Because
do you think he approves of? Do you think he?
No, it's not about approving. It's like Ben Shapiro himself has said, he's like, because they always try to get him. He's like, I would not go with that delusion, but like, if you saw a person who looked like a woman and you didn't know, would I call her she? Yes. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point of derailing your whole fucking day, right? By arguing with somebody over a fucking pronoun. Even Ben Shapiro fucking knows that. Everybody knows it.
The point would be to distract from, massive corporations buying up land and real estate and then selling it back to people at remarkably higher interest rates and all that. That's why you would do it, is because there's nothing better to talk about.
There is, yeah. I mean, I guess there's nothing else to talk about.
There's nothing better.
This is my big
nothing
issue.
Easy. And hey, it's hard to make a joke about BlackRock. I mean,
but easy to make a joke about black people.
I would have never mind.
Oh, yeah, that's going on TikTok. Okay. Here's my big issue, and this is the real primary thing, and this connects to us, right? And how I feel about are we pod bros, right? Is it's about male-dominated perspective. Yeah. The main issue with the Joe Rogan pod, I'll say another pod, like the H3 podcast. The main thing that happened with the HD podcast is that when he started getting a lot of women, then his show improved. But then when he started going off the rails, all of a sudden the women that work for him suddenly are on the show less, right? This is what you just happen to see. Joe Rogan does not have like a crew of women there, right? Because it's a bro space. It's a masculine, it's a toxic masculine space where men are men. It's the locker room. Men are
allowed to be men,
or men are allowed to be real men. It's the proverbial locker room, right? Joe Rogan is locker room talk on the internet. You know what I mean? It's mostly innocuous conversations because think about in real life, when you have conversations with people that you meet at a bar, they kind of sound like with Joe Rogan. You're talking to some guy you meet at a bar, he's really nice, maybe you even hang out, but then in the middle of it, he is a little racist, but maybe not too racist. But then at the end of it, you're like, peace, and you leave. And
because you learn that guy's whole life story, and you're like, okay, well, he's racist, but he did survive a hurricane, and
well, that's a real white perspective. I don't know if I forgive him. Yeah, feel bad now.
No, that's part of it. It's like, well, he's had trauma, so I guess that makes up for.
I guess that makes everything okay.
His
mommy didn't love him.
Yeah,
his mother didn't love him.
He wasn't taught empathy. He learned it at a very late age, and by that time, it's kind of like learning a new language, where it's like you really got to work at it if you want it to stick. And no hablas.
And isn't it crazy? I'm not even joking. Like, I think the whole space is male dominated, right? And that's where the
podcasts in general.
Yeah. So social media is a woman dominated space. That's the truth. It's a woman dominated space. But podcasts.
Wait, is that a fact or a feeling?
No, that's a fact.
Oh, okay.
That's just, I do social media. It's not, and I don't mean people like, oh my God, women, they're just women, so people like them. No, it's just, I guess, women just like to be on social media more. Maybe.
Would you say it caters to the feminine perspective?
No, I think it depends on the platform.
Okay.
But there is, I mean, like,
algorithm. I've been getting some real weird anti-women stuff on my feed lately, and
oh my God, I don't get none of that.
I'm like, Instagram, what are we doing?
Oh, that's why I'm doing Instagram.
What are we
Instagram
doing?
Is absolutely wickedy wild. And if we're gonna be the Joe Rogan of the left, if we're gonna be if we're gonna be Theo Vons, right? We need to solve these problems. We need to reflect on these issues, right? Because
are we gonna be two caves, one bear?
I mean, That's oof. It's a little kinky. I'm down with that.
Yeah, it is.
It's so crazy because the main issue, of course, is not really a fault of us, right? But it's just that we're not women, right? And that's just the Podbro problem. It's like, I guess men think that they should just have a voice and people should just listen to them. I don't know. I know that for me, I always wanted to do radio. I know for me, I always wanted to create things and do skits and be funny. And so for me, I think it's a special thing and I want to do it. And I don't want to do it to have an ego, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to shove my perspective down somebody else's throats, but because the space is so like male dominated, I worry that, I worry about two things actually. One,
what's your biggest worry?
Well, I can't get on that here.
Oh, okay.
I'll say one of the big things about us is actually, I think that we're so concerned about espousing misogyny and stuff that we're like very careful, right? And that's good.
And we're kind of afraid to take risks.
We are. You should be careful.
We're so risk averse. We're not edgy enough, and I think
maybe we should.
I think we would bring a little edgy.
No. I mean, like if we like it would. I think, for example, if there was just a woman here right now, right, we would still make jokes. But I think it's different
at her expense
to joke with women. I'm not talking about women, but I think when it comes to like making jokes, it just doesn't feel comfortable when you know that people who kind of look like you, who do the kind of thing that you do, are just like the worst. And I don't know about you, but I just don't want to be the kind of person where people watch the stuff that I do and it encourages them to do something bad. I want to entertain people, right? I don't want to contribute to the echo chambers, to the toxic masculinity. I don't want to do the whole pseudo intellectual thing where, we talk about I want to talk about things, right? But I think one big issue is that you have all these podcasts of people who literally,
I mean, we are pretty surface level armchair experts in a lot of things.
No, but I think, hold on, there's a few different things. One, presenting yourself as an expert is a different thing.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
I don't think I'll ever do that, right? I think it's important to let people know about what you're, so like I can do research, you can do research, and we can make it clear that we've done research. And that's different.
I have approximate knowledge of just about everything, so it might not be right, but it'll be close to the target.
It's close. It's almost.
And I'm onto something.
It's like, you know what? Almost. You know what? I think that it's H2O because there's, what does the 2 stand for? I don't even know.
It's like a boys to men kind of deal.
Oh man, see, so that's why water's not good for you.
The H goes to the O.
I spend a lot of time listening to people say shit that, like, there's this woman that I know who's really awesome, but I see her and we've been friends.
You want to bring feminine perspective.
Let's talk about women right now. We've been friends for a long time.
Broad, see.
Oh my God, it wasn't me.
Neat.
Wait, Chandler, women are great.
Neat.
Women suck.
Neat.
Oh man, Chandler. And she was posting, and she posted like that. Somebody posted about, she's like not into politics at all, but she saw that R.F. Kennedy Jr. is gonna ban like Red 40, and what she put in her story was like, because in Europe, they don't have Red 40. And people always talk about that. And this is a perfect example of people. I hate this shit. People open their mouths all the time. And you talk about surface level. Could you imagine making 5 videos about Red 40 and not even Googling if there's Red 40 in Europe so that it can tell you that it's not called Red 40?
What's it called?
It's called like E something. They have different codes.
Oh.
Right? So no, they don't have Red 40, but they have the same exact thing. It's like E11 or E100.
It's probably something like Rouge and then whatever the fuck the French say 40 with. Isn't it like N220s?
It is something like that.
Like, I don't know much.
It is something like that.
I don't know much French, but I'm pretty sure there's something weird about the way they say the number 40. Approximate knowledge of just about
the approximate knowledge of just about everything. The other thing, the dismissive of like feminist issues and stuff like that. I think it's hard because like let's say you want to be funny, right? But like the problem is you want to invite people into the space, right? That's what I think. I think the pod bros, they're so self-serving, right? They only care about and think about themselves, right? They're not thinking about the people who could be on the other side of the screen looking at them. It's important to actually consider your audience, right?
Wait, but what about when the pod bros have like another woman comedian on?
Well, I'll say this: it's like they say, you know how black people say, not all skin folk is kinfolk, right? Just because a woman is a
Ooh.
woman doesn't mean she's a feminist. Doesn't mean that she's a good person.
Is she
right?
not for the girls?
I mean, I find that some of those pods definitely, usually it's I'm not
Not
naming no
for the
names,
gals.
but some of these like smaller podcasts where it's like two dudes and a woman, or like a dude and a woman, and they're just like, it's not usually great. And also I find a lot of times they don't let the women don't speak as much, right? And I feel like sometimes I don't like the jokes. There's some podcasts that are really good, like Fear and, where everybody gets to talk and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like the Podbro Problem is specifically like the Fresh and the Fits. You know what I mean? We're like Fresh and Fit. Do you know about Fresh and Fit?
Remind me, jog my memory.
It's like, what is it, Myron? I think he's the bald one, and then the other guy who had Myron was bald, but he had a hair transplant. I love how I don't know anything about this, but I know
knowledge.
But I'll tell you this: the reason I know that, and the only reason I retain that, is because he's like a piece of shit. Talks about women's like attractiveness. So I don't really care if you're bald or not, but how are you like telling a 22-year-old who's like 110 pounds and fit that she looks like a hoe when you have that big ass sunroof? Okay. Anyway, and one of the things they do is like, this is real pod bro, right? They sit there and they're both like in their 30s, and they bring on these like 18 or 19-year-olds, like women. They bring in like 5 or 6 at a time, right?
That feels predatory.
That is so funny when they do that.
That feels
Because
so
having 5 or
weird.
6 women, I think makes it extra funny, because in that instance, even though there's only 2 of them and 5 of them, it's hard to there's no way to have a conversation.
Oh no,
Right?
Because you're arguing with a group,
And they're
And
also
so-
children,
yeah.
right? So he'll be saying stuff like, oh, what did he say? He said, oh, I saw this clip. He goes, Kobe, he says, women who get cheated on should just like, because it makes them look bad. But he goes, when men do it, right, they always try to dog the men, right? So what is that, Vanessa Cope Bryant or whatever? That's like Kobe Bryant's wife, right? So they were like, yeah, when Kobe cheated on her, it was like a big thing, but she gets to be a slut, and I don't know,
What?
it's like, and then he's talking, and then he's asking them, and these girls don't know nothing about this shit because they're
What?
young as fuck. They're like, I don't know,
And
I
they're
guess
like, who's Kobe Bryant?
no, they were like, well, what the girl said, but didn't she like he cheated on her, she cheated on him? That's like both bad. You know what I mean? But like most of these girls
like
are also
a
like
fair assessment.
they're like 18. So some of them are like kind of agree with what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Oh,
because they're young.
Yeah.
But then also they just like get these combative. They're like screaming at these women. They're literally having fucking breakdowns, sitting there doing this thing, like you're getting emotional right now, like that. Okay. Then there was a woman there, and they do this. They kick the women off all the time. They go, "You're just a fucking slut. Get the fuck out, slut." They do that, and this is a huge podcast. Okay. Then one time, this lady, she leaves, right? And when some of the girls that were there didn't like her, right? So, because she was like, this is not good, what you're saying. So they tried to jump her in the elevator. And then he grabbed the girls off of her and was like, yeah, I saved your life. Okay. These people are the biggest. These are the biggest fucking names in podcasting. It's like a bald dude and his chubby friend who are like in their 30s talking to 18-year-olds about how women who have OnlyFans are sluts and how they don't matter and how they're stupid and how they're used up. But also, like, if a man, what did he say? He said, a man, if he cheats on you, you know the saying, if he cheats on you, he still loves you. It's just a physical thing. But when a woman cheats on you, all that shit, that's like the biggest millions.
Because women don't want physical things.
Oh my God.
They want tangible things.
This shit is the biggest. This is really the epitome. It's people talking about shit they don't fucking know about in fucking echo chambers, right? And you know what's crazy? I'm concerned about maybe making a joke that's like kind of edgy, but not in a bad way, right? In a way that I think is like, oh, where people are literally sitting on fucking podcasts, being misgendering people, like bullying,
and
like women,
berating.
you know. Then you have the pod girls. You got like Pearl, right? Who's like a well-known, like conservative woman who's like a pug face. I only say that, I don't really mean it, because she's ugly inside.
Oh,
because she fucking, her thing is talking about how women who are like over the age of 25 are like degraded, and if they've had sex, they're used, and she's not a virgin, and she's over 25, and she's, I guess I'm gonna be honest, I think Pearl looks fine or whatever. She's just such an ugly fucking person that, like, you know, she just fucking revolts me. But I guess somebody could find her attractive and fall in love with her. But it's interesting that she's all alone and shit because she has a shitty attitude. It's the Podbro attitude is masculinity. It has nothing to do with really who's doing it, I think.
It's perpetuating the toxicity of the masculinity of the system. So
here's a question, right?
Yes.
How far away are we from that, right? How can we become like the Theo Vons of the, you know what the problem is? I know what it is. That's it. I'm taking over. You're taking
over?
Right? This is what it is. After 2020, after we used to do a lot of, look, you can listen, you guys go back and listen and watch. We did a lot of political stuff.
It was exhausting.
But it was exhausting, not even because we were talking about it. I think at the time it just felt so disheartening and lots of stuff was happening. And then COVID happened.
And things were going.
You know, but I think
were happening.
In order to become the Theo Von of the left, you know, we have to like mention politics again.
Well,
we don't have to focus on politics.
I think Theo Von is one of those kind of interesting, not exceptions, but like has managed to stay a bit moderate. But I think that's because he's able to play the like meandering deflection harder.
Yeah, but he's smart as shit though.
Yeah.
But he's like, but the thing is, he plays moderate because he's smart as shit. He's not pulling a Bobby Lee going on a podcast talking about when he like sexually assaulted somebody or some weird shit. You know what I mean?
I'm never gonna be able to go on any of these people's podcasts. You're just
what
like, you're setting fire.
Can I say I will go on Bobby? No, wait, no, wait. It's not my fault. It's on YouTube. Okay, like Adam McIntyre made a video about it. It's not my fault. Okay, it's not my fault. Also, can I say this, Bobby Lee? Yeah. I'm joking. You like edgy jokes.
It's just a joke.
Right? It's just a joke.
Oh,
right?
What? You don't like jokes?
What are you going to do? You going to cancel me? Come on. No, Bobby Lee's not like that. Bobby's not like that. I do think it's... I'm not going to do that. Anyway.
Wait, what were you going to say?
No, I don't know, because I just thought that
I thought you were going to
his wife. No, not like that. I think him and his wife got divorced. And I think that sucks. And it made me sad.
Are they still doing the podcast?
Well, I think they still do the podcast together.
Interesting.
You know? I don't know.
I really don't listen to podcasts.
Cuck behavior. I don't listen to none of that shit. Okay, I don't listen to none of that. All of it is mostly vapid.
I'll see snippets. I'll see snippets of lots of different podcasts.
Oh yeah, you think I'm sitting there watching Fresh and Fit? You think I'm sitting there watching an episode of Fresh and Fit?
Yeah, I think
so that I can sit there and see the whole time. Oh my God, I can't believe he has on all these young women in miniskirts, and then he's yelling at them, and then they're kind of upset because he's like being misogynistic and mean to them, but they're also young as shit, so they don't know how to express themselves about it. And also there's a power imbalance here, and then he kicks them out in the middle of the winter in the cold and shit. It's like fucking weird. Okay, it's like fucking weird.
Yeah, and okay? I think it gets you off.
You also got the no jumper, Adam 22. I'm not a hater because I feel like Adam, if he saw this, he'd be like, all right, whatever, you know. I'm not like a hater or whatever, but he's like a broy fucking dude. And I do think it's like weird that this white dude has on all these fucking rappers and shit. I don't know. It's like a little weird the way that he operates. But you know what? He has connections and shit.
Adam 22. The porn star?
Yeah, oh yeah. I remember I told you I've been following him since him and
Wait,
Lena the
like
Plug were making YouTube videos back in 2009 or something like that.
Wait, don't they have like a porn podcast?
I don't know.
Is
I'd
it?
go on that.
I-
I'm going on that.
Well, if you don't burn the bridge.
No, I'm not saying that. I like Adam 22. I'm saying though that like it's broy.
It
It's
curates a
heavily.
broy
It's so
atmosphere.
masculine, and I'm not saying. Listen, anytime I've ever seen him, it's like weird a little bit. The people he has on the interactions, but he's like fine, But he's just chilling.
What about some of the podcasts that maybe you wouldn't expect to be broy, but still kind of operate within this?
Man, I don't know. I listen to fucking podcasts about. I listen to podcasts about The Office and wrestling. Okay, I don't know.
I mean, a wrestling podcast sounds like it's rife.
You would think so, but I just so you know what? Sometimes there's but very little because I listen to the people who do it the least because that's who I am. There are people who
you.
like Jim Cornette. You know what? Fuck you, Jim. Fucking Mark. There you go. That's a bridge I can burn. I can burn that bridge.
Got it.
The thing about that is like I don't listen to those people. There are people like that, and all they do is go like Tiffany Stratton. That she has big tits and she's blonde, but she can't wrestle. But I like seeing her on my TV anyway. That shit's gross. I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to that, and I don't want to create that.
So do you think that we've managed to avoid being too broy? Because like you said, we've held back on saying things. I don't know. I don't think I've ever.
I don't mean
held
like
back,
that. I don't mean like that.
Do you think there's ever been like how good are we? Are we good? Are we good?
Am I good, Diane? Diane?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to know if I was good.
Tell me I'm good.
Tell me I'm good. Oh God.
Tell me
I don't know. I think that's
are we cool? Like
I think that's up to the audience to tell us, but
are you guys mad at me?
I think we try. But I think that I think from what I know, you don't have to fucking coddle and be soft with women. And sometimes when I say holding back, sometimes I think in general, I just am like very soft. Because I think if you talk to people like, they don't like men yelling at them and shit like that. It's not about that. It's about what you say and but the actions that you take, right?
Yeah.
And I want women to like the show. I want women, and I want the femmes, the thems, the MBs. I want everybody to like the show. If you need hot chip, I'll have hot chip. Okay, I'll do whatever you want. Okay.
So how do we stay cognizant of our place in the spectrum of broiness and like what?
I know what to do.
How do we stay?
I know what to do.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a Dom come on.
A Dom?
Yes.
Perignon?
And we're gonna have her Dom with an E, 2 M's and an E.
Okay.
And we're gonna have her chastise us as a bit. I think that's funny.
Like a
we could do it. We could do it over the phone,
like a CBT kind
or
of
we
thing?
could, or we can do it like on video.
Or
we can move the tables out of this room.
I thought it was gonna be something else. I thought
no, I we'll call her.
Sorry, I got a little excited.
No, we'll call her, and she'll be like, "Yeah, you little bitch boys," and we'll be like, "We want to be good. We want to be good podcasters." Wouldn't that be funny?
I don't
Like a
know
little
if
skit.
I don't know if I'd be receptive to that as feedback, but I don't know, I'm open for the bit.
It's the Mr. Masculinity over here.
Yeah, no, it's too threatening.
Yeah, look at that. I'm willing to get thralled by a beautiful woman. Yes. No. What if, I can't. No, come on. Wouldn't it be cool?
I just don't want to beg for forgiveness.
No, you don't have to beg for forgiveness. She'll
Because-
tell you that you're good.
She'll just tell me I'm good.
No, first she'll come on and she'll be like, "Little bitch boys,
If we
have you
haven't
guys
made it clear-
been doing good? Have you guys been doing good at your podcast? Have you been respecting women?" But of course we'll have a conversation with her and we'll have money, so it'll be part of the bit, and then she'll have fun, and then it'll be like, "Woo, it's so funny."
What if like a good way to kind of keep perspective for us as like a fun, good podcast is
having a woman on. No, no,
or maybe just incorporating more female voice or like female and queer.
Well,
and,
you know what's interesting?
Like just kind of, I don't know. Let's outsource some of our content a little bit. No,
that's why I have an idea. As we need to do, we're talking before. We need to do call-ins. We need to do call-ins, right? We need to do call-ins so we could have guests. Wouldn't you imagine 15-minute? What do you think? 15-minute interviews with the women comedians in New York.
But how do we get them the booze?
That's cute, actually. Hold on, I like that.
We could Instacart it.
No, I like this. This is a good idea.
What is it?
This is a good idea.
Tell me
the segment. Idea. No, you can't get it for free.
What? No, just
you can't get it for free.
I'm so in the dark right now.
You can't get it from talking to them.
Just I don't know. Tease it.
Okay.
Maybe. Tease it a little bit.
The segment will involve liquor, but what they have or something.
How does it get there?
Or so that we can. That way we can connect with them.
Oh, okay.
And then it'll be easier that way in case they're really far away. Oh. That way we can tap a pool of people and maybe utilize some other people that we know to get people maybe who aren't here.
And
close.
They tell two friends.
They tell two friends. And then we'll have
so on.
Actually, there's an episode about sex workers that we've been meaning to do. Yeah, and I have a co-host and I have a person and everything. But it's gonna be fucking
another co-host.
It's gonna be rated R.
Rated R.
Yeah,
for pirates.
Because she's probably gonna say the R word.
Oh,
now maybe I'll just tell her multiple times not to.
No, but that's the part that's like we're trying to avoid being a bro dude podcast, and that's like a key element. Is like.
Letting women do as they want, including saying the R word.
Yeah. It feels like a 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 12 steps program.
Okay. Can I make a face like this when she says it?
I think we're gonna need to have like a
button or something.
Button for it.
So we can dump out and come back 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, also,
because I think
when it gets warm,
just at the heart. We talked about this. We talked about this with our favorite TV shows and the things that set our favorite TV shows from the ones that we find to just be entertaining. And you gotta have heart. You gotta have heart.
Heart, emotions.
I think
feelings.
We try to do this show with our heart on our sleeves and our other organs where they're supposed to be. And I think as long as we keep that and we invite more perspectives more anecdotes, more stories, but things that but now okay, if we do that, do we just have to vet all the people? What if we accidentally bring on someone who is we think is pretty chill, and then all of a sudden they just start going on a tirade about.
But that's the difference. The difference.
What if it's we didn't.
You can sit there and let it happen, but guess what? Respecting women is also telling women when they're being racist or bigoted or something. I don't care if you're queer. But being queer don't mean you can't be racist.
You just want to bring women on to tell them they're wrong.
Actually, you're wrong.
We're gonna say, you know what? Get out of this studio.
I'm gonna invite women.
Get out of here. Go into the snow, you snow
you ready
bunny.
for this? I'm gonna invite them and be like, "Are you pro-choice or pro-life?" And then they say they're pro-life. I'm gonna yell at them. How dare you be pro-life?
Dude. Did I tell you that?
Sorry.
Last week.
Shit, I just forgot it's so late. Oh shit.
Oh, you yelled.
Oh, I yelled. It's
so loud.
I did.
That's wild.
Okay.
That's crazy.
What were you gonna say?
No,
I'm loosening up. This is it.
You're wild.
I'm wilding.
Hey, I heard you were a wild one.
You know what we need to get? This is my idea. We should get some more women and queer people on the podcast.
That's a great idea. What if we also got writers? What if we got people to write our jokes? Would that
You know what? They could totally write the jokes.
We could. Would that work? Would that
We should,
make
you know, what we
us-
should do. We should charge people like a fee to be on the podcast, and then they need to give out tickets to it,
Oh yeah.
right? Maybe if they
they-
give out enough, they could come on for free.
Ooh. What if we don't even guarantee that, but we like put it in a raffle or something?
Just
Ooh.
imagine somebody sitting here and there's like 4 or 5 people standing there, just watching us.
Or what if we like you and me and then like 2 more of like our close podcasting comedy friends, and then we'll have like strangers come on and then they can like, you know, make their best cocktail for us while telling jokes or something.
Ooh.
And then we try their cocktail and then we make fun of them about the way they look. To their face.
Oh, I love that. They can parade in front of us.
Yeah,
And we could just be like, oh, do a joke, dance, make a cocktail.
yeah. And
Just
then
taste
they'll-
like shit. You're ugly
they're gonna
and
be
you're not
like,
funny.
This is a tea gin blend that's a recipe that was brought down from my grandmother, and I was like, I brought down your grandmother last night, and her wrinkly cooch got all up in my butthole hairs.
Oh my.
And then the entire audience shits themselves laughing.
Oh man.
And then like in 15 years from now, when Cyber Trump is running for
shit.
office,
That's pretty funny.
you can endorse him and make fun of the former territory of Puerto Rico.
You know what I love? I love the idea of us going further left in the podcast, just so in a decade I can endorse the most conservative, like, you know,
Yeah.
president that exists and use this platform to do it.
Yeah, that'd be
But
fun.
in the meantime,
We just got to be as progressive and loving and heartfelt, and it's I also want to circle back. I know we got to close up, but I just want to circle back to, like, we were talking about how Joe Rogan is like more anecdotes over fact. It's not that anecdotes are bad. Anecdotes are good, and they're good to leverage for expressing stories. And like, as a comedian, you're a storyteller, and it's important to take people's stories into consideration.
but
If you're gonna have people state things as if they are facts, you have to make disclosures
also ask questions.
about the valid and ask well, that's another sticky one, because then it's like, oh, if you can't just like blanket statement, just ask questions, because then you're like grilling someone.
No, I think that when people present things as facts, you know, they go,
But
well,
that feels very Jordan Peterson-y, where like someone's like, well, you know, in my place where I grew up, there was a lot of gun violence. And he's like, well, actually, there was a lot of gun violence in the place that was just adjacent to where you said you grew up. Now, your actual mailing home address wasn't changed. And it's like, once you get nitpicky and too fact-checky, that it dismantles the...
but it depends on the importance of what's being said.
Yeah,
If somebody comes on and they go, yeah, I think that the writer of Wicked originally meant for the shoes to be purple instead of orange, you just be like, whatever, or instead of blue, you would just be like, okay, whatever, you know.
None of those things were correct, what you just said.
It's
None of the
blue and
things.
Wicked because it was
They weren't blue. They were silver.
sorry, silver. Why I say
They
blue?
were silver and red. You just said
No,
orange
wait,
and blue.
no, wait.
All
Blue-
of the
wait.
things.
That's the point. You see,
All of
that's
the things.
But look, the call
just
was calling me
blatantly
out.
stating.
Yeah, it was. But here's the thing, right? Maybe we have enough queer people here already. Talking about Wicked. Here's the thing, though. I think there's a difference when people start talking about. They go, "Oh, this is how gender is. This is how a race acts." You know, something serious.
Yeah.
Then that's like different, right? But if somebody's like, "Yeah, I went to that pizza place and it was $4," be like, "Can I see a receipt? Was it $4?
Was it $4?
You liar!"
But and then if someone's like, I feel like there's too many immigrants, and then you're like, well, okay, there's no more immigrants than there always have been. And then you would say, like, and also that's not like something that,
That's why you need a Jamie.
like, yeah,
Jamie, pull that up. Oh, I'm Jamie. Shit.
Yeah, you
I actually have that here.
you're the judge, jury, and executioner of this place.
Oh, man, I love that. That's why I'm fucking right. You know what else I am?
I'm just the prosecutor.
And notice I am. I'm confident.
You're confident.
I'm funny. And I'm happy to be here with you, Chandler.
I'm happy to be here too. Thanks for having me.
Do you have any closing thoughts? How do you feel? You know, when it gets warm, we did it once.
Yeah.
And I'm really committed to doing a lot of stuff outside.
God, I can't wait to be outside.
And I want to do a bunch of stuff. It would be nice, right? If we can go and we can pull some special outside episodes. I'm ready for that shit.
We should try to go to the beach on a day that isn't like just
when it's
absurdly windy.
I would say we should go to the beach, but not to film a podcast because of
sand.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Unless, I can get like one of those weather bags. You know, we'll see when the summer comes, actually. But I would love to. But it's also too bright outside. There's no cover.
I want more guests now that we have like this good booth for us to sit. We got our behind the bar.
You know, I want to come back.
Who?
Amy.
You want to bring Amy back?
Amy has been cracking me up.
Hilarious.
Oh man, this would be a perfect month. Oh well.
All right, well, let's sign out. Lead with heart. Don't be a dick. Remember to check your facts if something doesn't feel right.
And wait. I gotta hit the button. And remember, in January, drinking is not required and it's not recommended. I feel, you know, I really want to do stuff outside.
Outside is good.
I feel like doing stuff outside. Oh, these things. This one.